Hey up, I'm the Yorkshire Time Lord, and this is my alternate personality with my review of DC's Peacemaker. Ah yes, that's more like it. Nice and dark and grim with a blackness, just like a typical DC production. Okay, so firstly, absolutely fantastic series, Peacemaker. Everything I wanted from a James Gunn directed spin-off and more. I absolutely love this series. It has the humour that you'd expect from James Gunn, but also the heart as well. Now, this series basically carries on the story of Peacemaker / Christopher, who's played by John Cena, and he appeared in a James Gunn directed The Suicide Squad. Not the most obvious character to spin off into his own series, especially when he was shot by Rick Flag and was generally a bit of a prick throughout the Suicide Squad. But he actually turned out to be a really great choice for this series. They did a really good job at developing his character here and showing why Peacemaker is the person that he is. What led him to becoming such a controversial character who believes in exacting violence to achieve peace. It really is a show that does a good job at developing the character from the film that it's a spin-off of. You know, it's the Peacemaker basically comprises of 8 episodes, and across those 8 episodes we get some really quite funny scenes. Some that stood out to me are the show and tell sequence at the school, basically where Peacemaker is invited to the school and is giving a show and tell about the sort of ultra-violent acts he does as Peacemaker. Basically, he's kind of framing it as quite heroic and making out his friends with Justice League and, you know, basically trying to create this image of him as a superhero rather than a supervillain. And that really made me laugh. And there's also a really funny joke in the final episode as well, where he makes out that Green Arrow is a brony, which really made me chuckle. Because the Green Arrow that we've seen in other DC TV shows has been quite sort of hardened and gritty and serious. So it's just really funny to imagine Green Arrow as a My Little Pony fan, basically the exact opposite of somebody you'd expect to be, you know, really kind of gritty and serious and violent. Really made me laugh. But it also shows a more vulnerable side to Peacemaker as well. We get a bit of his backstory, which basically influences the person he is today, and you know why he basically adopted this mantle of killing people to achieve peace. We learn how he killed his brother as a child and how his dad basically abused him for it. It's quite interesting really how there seems to be a lot of superhero shows at the moment that show their protagonists as having accidentally killed their brothers when they were kids. It's really dark territory for, you know, superhero programs really. It's a really weird trend. It makes me wonder where it's going to crop up next. Is Miss Marvel in her upcoming series going to be revealed as having accidentally killed her brother? Are we going to have a Mr. Fantastic who killed people in his past? And they're going to end up showing, I don't know, Blade having killed people in his past as well. You know, is he going to have like a long string of people he killed as a child? They're going to just end up with like a long string of DC superheroes and Marvel superheroes and DC villains and Marvel supervillains who kill people as kids. They're going to have like a long row of really dark Avengers and Justice League people. It's really quite a crazy trend. God, it does surprise me. I wouldn't expect that to be a trend at all. But yeah, it's a great way of basically showing why he became the man he is, and you know we really get to see him change over the course of the series, and you know learn to become a better person. His work as a member of his Black Ops unit basically helps him learn how to, you know, work together with people and get on with people, and how his approach to achieving peace perhaps isn't the best way of achieving peace. You know, he even starts to struggle at the notion of killing kids when they reveal that, you know, these kids are butterflies, which, you know, is quite a development for him, given that he used to be of a belief that, you know, kids should be killed for the greater good, if it, you know, means achieving peace. really is it's quite a strong development for him, and it really shows how good a job James Gunn does at developing his characters and exploring a theme which is quite common for him throughout his shows and films of redemption. James Gunn's shows and movies, he always seemed to have this idea that people can change and people can become better people. And even if they've been criminals in the past, they still have that ability to learn from their mistakes and to become more heroic individuals. It's something that James Gunn does really, really well, and I'm glad that he carries it on here with Peacemaker / Christopher Smith. This show in general has a really, really strong cast of characters. You've got Leota, who acts as Peacemaker's best friend, and we get a really interesting storyline with Thea, where she basically betrays Peacemaker by placing a diary, which basically makes him look bad, and that kind of affects their relationship a bit, and they start to they fall out briefly, but they make up in the end, and it's really great to see that develop and how she feels guilty because she basically did what her mum and Amanda Waller asked her to do in placing the diary to basically use Peacemaker as a bit of a scapegoat for their mission. I like that she has a connection to Amanda Waller, who was the leader of Task Force X in a Suicide Squad movie. It's great to have these little hints and connections to the larger picture of the DC film universe. And we get a bit of that later on as well, when the Justice League show up in the final episode. Really, really funny scene. Basically, they turn up late to the final fight, and Peacemaker is not amused in the slightest. He goes up to the Justice League and basically gives them a telling off. He says, "You've turned up too late, what are you doing? We've won." It's really, really funny scene. And the way that the Flash teases Aquaman, who are played by the same actors as well, which is great that they're played by the same actors. Basically Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa reprising their roles. I like that they got the same actors to that scene, and you see Ezra Miller's Flash teasing Jason Momoa's Aquaman based on Peacemaker's comments from earlier that he's done some questionable things with fish. Really, really, fun dynamic between Aquaman and the Flash in a brief cameo at the end. But yeah, it's great to see those little connections to the wider picture, so it all feels like a part of the same story and the same mythos. Something that DC in the past haven't done so well, but they seem to be getting a bit better at it now. And you've also got the character of Harcourt as well, who's really quite badass. She's like the the stern fighter of the Black Ops crew, and she's not afraid of killing people. She would just kill people if she needs to. She starts off with, I'd say, quite a serious view of Peacemaker. Quite a stern view of Peacemaker, I'd say. She's not really too fond of him to begin with, but she grows to like him over the course of the series. It's quite interesting the way that develops, and it's sort of a bit of a hint at a bit of a potential romance between Peacemaker and Harcourt, which is something I'd like to see in the second season, which has been confirmed for release at some point in the future. I was really worried for her when she basically got shot. I thought she was dead then, but they pulled a really nice surprise reveal when they showed her in hospital and she's effectively still alive. So it seems like they may have some plans for her and Peacemaker. And it'll be interesting to see what happens between them in the second season. Will they become an item? Or will that teasing basically amount to nothing? It will be very, very interesting to see. And there's also the leader as well of the Task Force X crew, whose name is Clemson Mern. And he's a pretty decent character as well. He's quite a strong leader. He has this quite interesting secret where he's revealed to be a butterfly late into the series, which creates a bit of a new dynamic. This whole kind of enigmatic sense of can we trust him? Can we not? What's going on here? Is he really on their side, or is he going to betray them all? Why does he want them to get rid of his own people, the butterflies? But he has quite a tragic final scene where he's basically killed by one of his own kind, because he's effectively betraying them by sending them off to kill the butterflies. Quite a sad final scene for him, and not one that I was really expecting. But he gets a good exit, so I mean, there's also not going to be in the second season, but yeah, quite a strong exit for him. And one of the things I really want to know about this series is it has the best title sequence I've seen in a TV show for a while. And that's this really, really epic dance scene to the song Do You Want to Taste It? It's a really, really goofy number, but that's why it works so well. It basically is a right sort of cheesy, and it's exactly what you can imagine Peacemaker with this really, really ludicrous costume, who treats himself ultra seriously, but really he's quite a quite somebody who's quite hard to take seriously because he's quite should we say quite over the top with his actions. But it's a really, really, really fantastic dance sequence, and I love that whole kind of dance and the way that it really plays to the characters in a way that they're basically dancing to his tune. You've got Harcourt, who's quite serious, so she does it in a very kind of restricted manner, and Peacemaker just lets loose because he just doesn't care about walking out. He walks out to tunes all the time, and you got these really more athletic characters who are just basically doing these cartwheels and stuff with the air, which is really quite cool to see. And it ends in the most epic fashion with Eagly landing in front of John Cena's Peacemaker. I love that the way it ends. It's a really, 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 really fun title sequence. And I like the way that it basically is used again in the finale as well, to underscore the finale. And you see them, in a great big final battle sequence between the Black Ops crew and the Butterflies, in a way that it works really well for that final battle sequence, which is absolutely epic. When a lot of them all fighting the Butterflies and using Peacemaker's helmet to destroy the cow. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic battle sequence there. And then that fight sequence between Peacemaker's dad, the White Dragon, and Peacemaker himself. God, I love that fight sequence. It's such a great fight sequence because it really, really digs deep into that emotional core between Peacemaker and his dad, and the drama of it, and Peacemaker making a useful decision to shoot his dad and basically kill his dad like that. And after that fight scene, they really explored the emotional ramifications of what he did. To do a really good job exploring how that affects Peacemaker on an emotional level. To make such a harsh decision like that to kill your own dad. God, the way that they show him having visions in the forest of his dad, and basically, he starts going mad, throwing things at trees and stuff. God, it's really powerful, all that. And basically, it really plays to the complex nature of it all. The fact he kills the guy who's not been a great dad to him, but he was still his dad. But he kills him, and then he's really affected by it. James Gunn really he gives some of his greatest stuff here. It's really, 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 really great stuff. I'm just so glad that this series is also getting released on DVD and Blu-ray as well, because it's going to be really great to own it physically at some point. It's one of those shows that I just want to watch again and again and again because it's a really great show, and it gives us a lot of James Gunn's typical humour. And a lot of his, great sort of emotional scenes as well. I think it's, going to be really, really cool to own it on physical media. Anyway, what did you think about Peacemaker? Don't forget to let me know in the comments section below. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Right. I'm putting an end to this. You are going to stop making these videos now before you start reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. Do you understand me? Joke's on you. I don't even like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Good. Because I don't want any more DC reviews on this channel. Next time, I think we'll return to making some Doctor Who videos. Like whether or not May's Theory could be the new Big Finish. It's an interesting thought. They've made some good stuff.